Testing. One, two, three. Good morning, world. Happy Monday from You Will Make It TV YouTube channel to your very own family and your loved ones. Happy late Father's Day to all the beautiful fathers across the globe. We love you. Even father figures and father role models, okay? We love you here at You Will Make It TV. And just a slight reminder, you will make it. As a matter of fact, you keep being a good father, you might turn around and see those same kids take care of you one day. Those same kids make sure that your priorities, your needs, and stuff, that you're not alone handling them. Is it our children's job to make sure we're okay once they're grown? No, it is not. But a child has their own special way of showing their parent, even as a child, if we pay attention. Their behavior is how they speak to us about how they feel about us or something they might be going through. So, of course, when we become an adult and they actually choose to keep you in their life and to want to be there for you and to want to have a relationship to you, it's a real blessing. Now, some of you already know this because you have grown children, but I'm just here as the audio host of the hour today to keep inspiring parents, not just fathers, but mothers too, because you never know what that child is going to be in their future or why God gave you that child, right? Why God allowed that child to come into this world. But I usually make my holiday posts. I didn't get to do a post on my community board on yesterday to share that Father's Day love. But guess what? Even though I'm 24 hours late, I still got a special graphic, a special banner for the fathers I'm going to be sharing on the You Will Make It TV community board. If you guys want to check it out later, screenshot it or just take my message from here. Happy Father's Day again. If y'all saw the title of my segment, when I go live too, I'm never expecting people just to have 100 viewers, 200, 300 viewers on live. We got people that come back and check out these live segments. We have free time. It's also Monday. We're back in the business week. Even me, myself, have a pretty busy Monday ahead of me. But we're starting the top of the morning today discussing the war right now in Israel. So y'all give me a few seconds. I'll be right. If anybody's checked the news lately or been following it, yep, y'all know who Israel is. We're not talking about the people yet, just the geographical territory. Like, it's so unfortunate. You know, you turn around every time I turn overbeared with the news of all these wars. It took me straight back to the Bible. I don't know about other people, but what better text, what better book to turn to? 48 powers of war, a law of mind power. I'm not reading that about the stuff I'm seeing in the world today because I'm not the one trying to be all powerful. But I will go read the Bible about what it says. Something about wars and rumors of wars. I don't know what's scarier. Wars is like, you might can prevent them here and there. War is already going on though. When you talk about wars, but when you talk about rumors, we all know what a rumor is. Rumors of wars is what the Bible said we would see in these last and evil days. That means wanting to battle. They want to fight anyway. Even if it's not Israel and Iran or Russia and Ukraine or the next country, ladies and gentlemen. If you take a look around you at just the state of society today, people stay ready to agitate the next person, irritate. What did we think war was? That was my question. I think people still think war is the old-fashioned missiles and things against each other. There are more ways. There are so many more tactics that people use. Once their mindset is in a, like, hey, we're at war, some they feel like there is no limit. That's why I would like to know. I don't know about you people out there, but if I'm ever at war, I want to know. I just want to know. Because how can you even look at attempting to defend yourself? And you at war and you don't know you are. You don't even know why you're at war. You don't know how long the war is going to go on. Most soldiers that go into war, they know a little bit more information than that. That's all I'm saying. Even if I'm in, people talk about spiritual. So I was just giving y'all an introduction of a few topics I'm going to be covering, giving my insightfulness, opinions, and reaction to real news across the globe every day, okay? If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, you might want to do that because over the summer we're going to have updates, new things we're doing. We don't want you to miss any of our future posts, inspirational quotes. We want you guys to be able to access them and share them. Who needs a little inspiration this summer, okay? Did y'all know the summertime used to be the time of harvest? I take the summer very serious. To y'all, it's just like, oh, it's summer break. To some people, it's just another season. I don't play about the summers. I just don't. It's, I was saying, in my opinion, it's a natural time of harvest, not planting seeds. But sometimes I do it like that. I might plant some seeds in the summer, not see a result to the next spring. We understand it's about farming, but when a person is trying to like get their life together, what is there not to understand about that? The harvest is the last step. That's like after you done did the seeds, went through the tearing, work, watering them, checking on them every day. Nobody just got a harvest overnight. I mean, that's a special miracle working person that if they do. My inspiration to the world this summer is please remember back in previous times, uh, people utilize their summer to the utmost. There's even some animals that do that. They store up food all summer long. You got animals with more sense. They store up food all summer long, baby, because even they know the winter's coming back around. We're just getting a slight break from it. Winter will be back peeping his head through, but you got some more animals like squirrels and bears. I don't know all of them, but it's some animals that, baby, they don't play about their summer. They don't have time out. They might do mating season. They might participate in that because the animals get wild in the summer too. But one thing they are going to do, they're going to make sure that they put up and they're stocking up for when the winter seasons come. I swear, I have learned so much from animals. I don't care who said I'm strange. Because I mentioned a spirit animal before my segments. Baby, y'all need to pay attention to the animals. I'm doing what I'm. I said they just so wise. They seem to sit here and, uh, that way they don't have to look for where the harvest coming from. What humans sat there and made sure they had berries in the winter because they was already outside this summer while the harvest was plenteous, right? Maybe that's how people look at summer too, but I'm just trying to keep everybody's eyes open about it. Like some people look so consumed and you don't see them outside and for the winter. And somebody like me probably been at it for summers now. Yes, once I started to see the significance in summers, for real, like you don't have time to use your summers the same. Now, while we just complaining about the hot sun in some uh, territories, there are people that have to deal with the scorching heat, plus they have a war going on right now. Can you just imagine it? We really should pay attention in history too. When other wars were going on, like what was the season of the year? What point, what month, how long did it last? For example, we can look at uh, the Civil War. I guess it kind of ties into this topic. It doesn't, because I don't know. I could be wrong, but to have to fight in the summer and it's already hot like that is crazy, man. You're going to need constant water, constant protein. You're out there using combat and prayer out there for not just all the, but those for positive change. You know what I mean? There's no war. Didn't lose their life, man. I just want to make sure. That's why I'm hearing about I already saw it on the news. They want to come together. That's people point. We don't want a king over here. We don't want to be feeling like we're being led to battle and war over things like that's what I'm saying. War is very costly. Make sure it's even worth it. Even when you join other people fights, let me teach on that for a minute, just the basics. When you join somebody else fight, you got to be wise about that too. Somebody just come grab you and say, "Yeah, come fight these people with me." That's something that we should have been doing. You might want to ask questions. Who we fighting? What we fighting for? How long we going to be fighting? What their team look like? A lot of people just jump in it. Like I said, today, society, you just got a lot of people that is more quick-tempered. They will get quick-tempered. I don't care about a quick temper. I care about how you control, how you manage that quick temper. Just as quick as your temper is, you can quickly turn it off too. But I'm letting people know that's possible. I'm not mocking anything or anyone, just for the record of this segment. But I always thought it's funny they called it quick-tempered, because if something like quick-tempered exists, what is the quick solution? How do you ease one? We let many people get away. We just tell them, oh, they had a quick temper. That's how that battle got started. We got to watch those type of people, especially when they leaders. Next thing you know, you won a war, a battle, because you were quick-tempered about something. Hell, we even learned Elon Musk might be a little quick-tempered. But what is my inspirational insight on what's my point? If we're going to have quick tempers, we need quick solutions. We need quick thinking people on the other side too. Just imagine fighting all your life over somebody's temper, bro. I haven't even gotten the good part of this segment yet. Because I told myself I ain't going to go over an hour with y'all today. Because what I need to say, sometimes I do my topics free-handed, or what do you call it? Like just freestyle, no notes, no research. I do my research is what I mean, and then I just come here and freestyle my reaction to what I research. People want to look for you to say something verbatim, word to word, to what a news story said. Wouldn't that be plagiarizing? Let me freestyle what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I might not say it how the news say it, or the media, or how you heard it at a protest, or how you heard a leader say it, right? That's what's beautiful about reactions and having our own opinions. Oftentimes you see people get quick-tempered over that. That's crazy. I'm teaching my girls at a young age too. I think it's better that they don't. Like every battle is not worth your quick temper. Some situations you do need to be on your toes. You need to be ready to go to 10. When a person on 10, it's a trend today to teach people to match energy. Okay? Let me repeat that again. It has become a trend to teach peers and neighbors and everybody in society that matching energy is the most powerful thing you can do. I'm just saying, even with real energy, there is positive and negative that's both required for their energy to be in its fullest form. So I wouldn't say matching it is the same thing all the time. You can be a negative and come together with a positive. That's just like a battery taught us that. What is this new trend of telling people to match the energy? Because see, if people are already walking around quick temper, you're just telling people to match the energy. Then you got too many people walking around quick temper. Okay, why did I start the segment about this and talking about this? There are many countries at war right now, like I had just started off saying. And then y'all just don't know how much one war starts. It's just crazy. Plus, the Bible had all these evidences, all these scriptures. I was just going to get y'all opinion. To me, scriptures that when I read it, I can see the resemblance, the reflection, if you will, the residue, the evidence that some of these scriptures seem to be actually happening, especially when it's talking about the last days. So where did I leave off on? That scripture that talked about wars and rumors of wars, that it would be a whole sign. Y'all know I believe in signs, wonders, and miracles. But you can't be no more blessed than that. He might didn't say exactly what the sign would look like or what time it would come, but we at least got some documentation of certain signs that could begin to happen They could show us, hey, there's a return of a real king coming. That's why I thought those protests, the name of them being No King, was actually quite funny. Because what are the people saying? They just don't want a king in general? I understand. But you can't change that. It did say there is a king that's returning. It said in the last days. Nobody know what the last days is, when the end of the world is. When they've been preaching about the Messiah returning for a very long time. He just said these would be signs. For those that might want to have a heart of a believer, there were going to be these signs. Remember how I just talked about the quick tempers? Well, he said the hearts of many would wax cold. I might call it quick tempered, but that's how the Bible described it. Hearts waxing cold, like they don't have any more generosity, empathy. As a matter of fact, it agitates them for you to even mention empathy. Because I've been on the front line seeing it. People like, what you preaching about empathy right now? Just have money or there's nothing to talk about. Let me tell y'all something about money, why this is causing so much war. The Bible never said people were supposed to have to pay for anything. The Bible never commanded people to tax people for anything. That's why there was one tax collector actually was, I think God had to send a prophet to talk to him. It's a very good Bible story to talk about today, what's going on in the world today. What was his name? I don't want to say it wrong. I think it might have been Zechariah. He was a tax collector in the Bible. And he wasn't off limits to the Most High God. Because he sent a prophet, a man of God, to talk to him. Hey, God said it was like a warning. If you don't stop taxing people, I guess they think because he sit on the throne, he can't see the extra taxes that people be charged for everything. Long before the tariff changes. But like I said, they used to use coins. Gold is a natural mineral. I can see if we kept using that for currency exchange, it's a natural mineral. We started using paper. And then try to control people over the paper, another natural mineral, not the paper itself, but where the paper came from was a natural place that we used to print the money. So it just gets deep to me, like literally none of this would be going on had nobody been taxed in the first place. You know, because what leads to robbery if a person didn't have more than the next person to begin with? But obviously somebody found it very, very wise and imminent that tribes be divided, cultures be divided. Now we're getting into the topic, by the way. So we're going to go divide everywhere else and call ourselves united. Because sometimes when you do have that prophet, leader, prayer warrior in the midst, that prayer warrior must be aware of what's going on, because how else are they able to make specific prayer points about something? That's great to call yourself a prayer warrior all day long. We talking about war right now. Why y'all think they call us prayer warriors? It's already a war. Okay, so anyways, it's important that we know these certain things that be going on, because how can you get a prayer point through? You just praying for your children, your family every day. What about the rest of the world? Okay. But somebody thought it was wise to divide all these people up, and then I don't think that's right. It don't feel right. You're gonna divide everywhere else and then call yourself united. United with who? And even undercover, what's they called? Undercover, like dividing people in a malicious, sneaky way is still dividing. That's crazy. They tried to divide them too at protests yesterday. I saw it all over the news. They didn't really tell nobody to go home. They were just trying to make sure that the protests remained peaceful. But I couldn't be more prouder of the people, even though I wasn't physically outside at any of the protests this weekend. Some of the signs and some of the things that people were saying at the protest, you couldn't help but agree, even if I wasn't there. That was their main point. We don't want a king. It tickles me in my own way. Like, it just does. Maybe they feel like a certain leadership is more reflecting that of a king than a presidential leader. And that's where they was coming from. That's why they titled the protest "No Kings." But see, in Israel, they didn't have no kings. They don't have no kings over there. They're still under attack. I was just reminding people. They don't have no king over there. It just take one leader who wants something done very bad. That's it. You ain't gotta be a king. You being a leader is enough these days. Like, you got enough money, connections, pool. That's it. And now you begin to resemble a king. I just hope that the people that was holding up the signs that said no king do understand what a king is too. And maybe they should take this time to learn. Go research kings and the way that they have had to flex their power. It's almost like y'all trying to call the kings out of, I ain't gonna say retirement, but you don't know what the daily life of as a king is, what things they have to tend to, the things they even are knowledgeable about, whether we know it or not. And yes, the Bible is the perfect book to read if you want to see that kings are very real and how they've had to flex their power before. Okay? They might have to declare war, or they might have to send soldiers out, or they might have to change some things. A real king, while they talking about no King's Day, that's very much a part of kings, protocol, their job. If you go through your whole rulership never having to flex your power, well, I would just say you're a special person. Maybe wasn't nothing going on during that person's rulership, but it's not uncommon for a king, a queen, a leader of any sort to flex their power. But then we just get through talking about quick tempers, and the Bible telling us, hey, be careful. The hearts of many gonna wax cold in the last days. The foes to be those of your own household. Like, it's literally right there in the scripture. But then you see it happening to a certain person and say, well, what's going on in her life? That's why I can't pay that type of stuff attention with my life or all of our lives, brothers and sisters, because these things were written, you can almost say, in stone. Yeah, prophecies, thousands and thousands of years ago. It said, yep, let's use me for example. Women like Tetasheri, yep, she gonna have foes of her household. Hell, she might have a household and they think she's the foe. All I know is it was written. And people try to break it down to something more than that. It doesn't get any more than that. The Bible said foes were going to be of your own household. So how was people supposed to prepare for a prophecy like that? You just knew the word said that. Had people should have started detaching from their families years ago then? No. We were talking about how these are just signs. SIGNS. Signs of the times that have been prophesied about for many, many generations. It's almost like God even sends a new prophet every generation to show people, I'm not playing. The same thing David said, the same thing Zechariah said, the same thing Isaiah said was going to happen in the last days. It's almost like, I could be tripping here, but it's almost like God sends a prophet every generation. Ain't nobody gonna be able to stand before him on judgment day and say, no, God, I didn't know it would be foes of my own household and enemies, and the hearts of many would wax cold and there would be rumors of wars. Like, it's no excuse for that. Many prophets and preachers, you don't even have to be religious to read the Bible to know what I'm referring to according to prophecies. I'm going to go look at that before I look at, what's that man named? Nicodemus. There were other predictors. That's all I was saying. Nostradamus. There were other great predictors, like where they said something that they feel like might happen one day. And then sometimes it come to pass. That's why these men are still known today. I don't know if I said his name right. Is it Nostradamus? Yeah, I don't choose to go reverence that as in like, oh my God, what were the prophecies they were giving? They could have still been predictors, but we were talking about prophets sent directly by God and how we know they're sent by God. Today, Israel, the land is being attacked. Today's date, March 6, 16, 2025. But this started months ago. This with Israel and Iran, to my understanding. So it made me go research Israel again, y'all. And how did I start off researching the land of Israel? That's what my focus was. I'm going to just research Israel right now and why they fighting and why they under attack. And it still led me back to the Bible. If it don't do that to you, maybe I'm missing something. And it's been Russia, other countries fighting too. Maybe they're called something else in the Bible, but it's still those same places. So it took me back to the Bible, teaching me the word Israel in Hebrew means one who wrestles with God or whom God preserves. And it gave us a referencing example. Jacob wrestled an angel in jail. He did, though. When you read the story about it, that's like calling on God to send your guardian angel in a situation, right? And God sends that angel, actually. He was so spiritually in tune. Y'all think I'm not waiting to be called a great. I just want to meet the greats. I just had to throw that in there. I want to meet the greats. I want to shake their hands. I want to be able to see them having a good time with me in heaven one day, because I actually understand these stories in a way I never did before. But imagine God actually releasing the angel you prayed for. You said, God, send some warring angels on my behalf. These people got me in jail, falsely accused for preaching your word. That's what Jacob told God, and God actually sent him an angel. The thing is, he chose to, he told the angel, I'm not letting you go. We were talking about Israel, the meaning one who wrestles with God. It didn't mean in a way of war as mankind looks at it today. They say, well, Israel is described as the people who wrestle with God, so it must mean they always fighting God. No, they fight for what's theirs. That's what I hear, because Jacob fought that wrestle. He wrestled that angel. It wasn't like that, y'all. It was more like, I'm not letting you go. If God delivered you unto me and I prayed for an angel to come here on my behalf, obviously there's something I need. Brother Jacob wasn't playing in the Bible with that. So anyways, like I said, I don't have to be religious to read a ancient text. Any ancient text. I could just want to be educated about certain things a little further or deeper. They might say, that's not historical. Baby, that is historical. That's why it's in the Bible. It had never been seen before. Most people that get that close to God, we do end up praying something like that. Do something in my life that people have never seen, God. I know it's finna blow their caps because it's finna blow mine, but I'd rather see you do something in my life than to sit here and surrender to X, Y, and Z. And that was the mentality Jacob had. Even behind jail bars. As the story goes, he wrestled the angel, but let me tell y'all, it obviously worked. That's the testimony about this story and why it's in the Bible. It worked. The angel said, I ain't never seen no person this adamant about something. Let me go ahead and bless this man with what God, do something on this man's behalf. He wouldn't let my wings go. He kept pulling on my wings. He kept pulling on my garment. He kept pulling on my halo. God, please do something for this man, type of deal. These type of stories inspire me. I don't know about y'all, but we have to have that type of mentality, because people have it about other selfish reasons when they want to go to war. But you're not willing to wrestle with God. Wrestle his word. And that don't mean in a demonic way. Wrestle, challenge him. God, I need this. I need that. I want this. That's what he's saying when he said Israel, one who wrestles with God. That's my opinion on that teaching. It didn't mean we're the most hard-headed, rebellious people of the planet. That's not what it means to me. There's always like that one family member. Let me give y'all an example like this. Somebody you can get really close to. Let's say a fight break out. And when that person gets really quick temper, or they're in that moment that they ready to fight, they will, it usually take a person to try to back them up or pull them away from the fight. What I'm saying is my experience with people who really can't get so angry, like there's no breaking them up. Not like a wrestling or boxing match. Once they get turned up, you cannot stop them. Okay, I said that to reference to this. There's usually that one person they have to call. Hey, Johnny's doing this again. Can you come calm him down? Ashley's turning up again. Can you come calm her down? Like usually with that type of person, there's somebody they have to call, or maybe a higher authority. Literally, just to get that person to calm down. Pay attention to that type of stuff, because we actually might see it more in the coming years. It being a little more challenging to calm down a situation. That's usually why they do have to call in martial law soldiers. Did you guys not see the soldiers that's been deployed out there in California? That's not even another country. That's still here. Now, that's a better example of what I was trying to tell y'all. Sometimes you do have to bring in higher level just to calm people down. We're not talking about what they might be pissed about yet. We're just talking about their piss, and you need help calming them down. Right there in LA recently. So it's very real. I was saying my prediction is it's going to be more situation. Like it just will make it a little more challenging to calm people down, and I don't agree with that by a long shot. People should be able to control their tempers, actually. But see, when an age of something like an awakening happening, so much truth is being released from so many different angles today. Talk about the internet. People do interviews now. You know what I'm saying? People are going to do their own research more than ever. If you ask me, that's what they didn't want. They probably expected people to research, but not like on their own. That's crazy. If you got 20,000 people that go off alone by themselves, they all researching the same topic, but they just like a classroom. They all studying it on their own. And then you tell the students, come together and show me what all y'all came up with when I told y'all to research Israel. Something I haven't done yet, but I think it would be an interesting experiment. Because I'm sure all 20,000 of the students found something different in their researching Israel. The meaning of Israel, where Israel came from, where is Israel? Where is it located? Who's the leader over there? How long have they been at war? You know what I'm saying? How long have they been at difference? Everybody would have a different paper about Israel. So I just found that significant. Okay, so I'm doing good, y'all. I'm on the second line of my notes because I had to kind of break down what Israel mean in Hebrew. You know, because if God choose to name me something, I might want to know why. So how many of y'all asked your parents, why did you name me Ashley? Or why did you name me Brandon? Well, why did you call us Israel? Okay, so I went and looked it up. Oh my God, he said Israel, El in Hebrew means God. We know the El word is at the end of the word Israel. Oh, well, it definitely has something to do with God. Israel has something to do with God, a lot to do with God. Okay. Then Isra, or Yisra, Yisra, means he wrestles in Hebrew. Now, God just gave me a new revelation about the wrestling, because I said, what does this mean? We just a bunch of people that's always trying to fight you, God? No, we are people who had fight in us. We were a people who were designed to fight. Don't get it twisted. We're people that definitely are familiar with wrestling for what we love. That's what the word Israel taught me in Revelation just recently, okay? And like they said, they reverence to Jacob a lot, the one who wrestled with the angel, to show that. But some just teach, well, Israel the most rebellious people, and that's why they got curses, and which is right along the lines of what I was going to talk about next. Any land, right, that's like a land of God, God's people, it wasn't just like no one people on the land. Israel is usually described as a different tribes of people. Some say there might be more tribes, because I was learning some more stuff through my research recently. It's been a while since I looked into this, but They said it was supposed to be actually a few more tribes. You have your insights in the comments, guys, but um, what people are most familiar with are the 12 tribes. One tribe could consist of 1,000,000 people. Just putting it in perspective where even if a young teen or kid came across my video, they could understand what I'm saying, because they might not ever hear the teaching about Israel anywhere else. The only thing they're going to hear about Israel, some of our young people today, they first time hearing about Israel was when this war happened. It should bother us. It should. Because are we teaching about Israel and its significance in school? No. We only bring up Israel probably in school, even when I was in school. I don't remember us talking about Israel. But today they might, because they're at whole war. And the whole world knows it. So, with those, I was going to say the tribes, right? It's just, I guess if you want to call it, it's a rumor that these tribes were cursed over certain periods of time for their actual disobedience to God. Why do y'all think the devil gets so threatened to see a child of God obey God? Why do you think he tries to interfere with it? It's something to it. It's just something to that. You always trying to interfere with a person actually obeying God. Yeah, they're a being just like you. They can choose to do what they want to do every day. But this specific person could have been from one of those tribes. The tribe of Judah is just one, by the way. I'm going to name off the tribes for those that, like I said, you got some young people that never heard this teaching in their life. They don't know about the tribe of Ben, the tribe of Judah, the tribe of Zion. They don't know about all that. All they know, they just think Israel is a place and it's over there under attack. But no, there's another Israel then that we must talk about, and the spiritual significance of this Israel. How it's been more evident. I think it's some countries in Africa right now. I don't want to say the wrong one. That's how much I keep up with the changes in the world. Just know this, that there are countries that have I don't know, like while this is happening in Israel, there are other countries that literally have already began persecuting and killing, and I shouldn't have said that word like that, but just really coming against what you would call believers. The news might call it Christians, like, oh, Christians are being attacked in Nigeria, Christians are being attacked in Florida. And I don't like when they use that word. Just go ahead and call them believers. Because see, when you put us in a category, then you feel like you have a right to come after somebody for what they believe. Don't put us in a category. If you're out here taking down quote unquote Christians or what you believe or believers, that's just what you are. Don't blame it on Christians. I would say the little bit of good we had that was keeping this world together is due to the Christians. I would say that. But now suddenly things are going haywire and you got people want to attack the quote unquote Christians. I just was wondering, what is that going to fix when the word had already stated that you guys were going to try to do that? It didn't say a specific group of people, names, ages. It just said that, yeah, there's going to be an uprising in people who don't like people waking up to knowledge. The Bible tells us this in the last days. But who is in control of the pouring out of the knowledge? Well, God Almighty is. I read it for you guys already. He said in the last days, I'm going to pour out my spirit upon all flesh. It don't matter what country, what tribe, what race. In the last days, I feel like this is, just trying to speak for God for a second. He said in the last days, I feel like it don't matter where you come from. I'm pouring out my spirit among, that's what the Bible says. I'm pouring out the spirit of truth on everybody. And I'm going to just sit back and watch who accept it and who don't. I'm going to pour out the truth on Israel and I'm going to see who accepts it. I see why a lot of people walk away from God. And then they call you weak for remaining there, being willing to bear the truth. That's all it is. If he said in the last days, I'm going to pour out my spirit of truth upon people, maybe some people just thought, yeah, it's going to be it's actually a really specific, detailed scripture. He said, your young people, they're going to start having dreams and visions like you ain't never heard it before. And I know that part has already started happening. Then he said fathers will be against mothers, mothers against sons. Y'all just want to make God look crazy. Like, no, all that can't happen. It's happening, baby. You can't make God look crazy. Everything exactly how he wrote it, which he is the word. He didn't have to write anything. He is the truth. He said exactly how I wrote it. Well, that's what's happening. If I said mothers and daughters and sons and fathers going to be against each other, at the same time that I'm pouring out the truth to everybody, that's what I said. It's like, who's going to be able to look past those distractions and still see the truth? Amen. I said I'm pouring out my truth in the last days. And the people like, well, I don't see God doing nothing. Oh, he's doing something. You remember that all-watching eye he said he had? He's just sitting back observing you either reject or accept the truth about you, about your neighbor, about your family. See, some people, I noticed that they're like that too. My topics are for edification, not for judgment. But some people are like that too. Like, they can handle the truth if it's about another person. I told God, please don't let me be like that. That sounds like a very delirious way to be. I can handle the truth about another person, but when somebody telling it to me, or God himself is showing it about me, I can't accept it. Maybe that is an area of our lives a lot of us struggle, but I'm trying to save us in time, if that makes sense. Like, that ain't gonna fly with God. You was able to know the truth about everybody else and dig in their business and know their truth, and you bore that all day long. You bore it so much, you was able to spread more rumors and put more salt on top of it. Okay? Because usually the truth don't need no extra seasoning. That's what I love about the truth. It don't need no extra pepper, salt, lemon pepper. People add it though. Then it's no longer the truth. You added all that seasoning on top. Baby, that ain't the rare truth I'm used to. You just added all that seasoning. Now I don't want it. That ain't the truth. But if I can sit there and hear you tell me the whole truth about somebody else, and I go to sleep fine that night, but I'm up all night because somebody told me the truth about myself, I can't sleep, my thoughts are invaded, I can't think straight no more, then there's something wrong. But see, a person that just focus on their own mirror every day, mirror, their own reflection, their own soul, their own heart. That's why it's best to practice that with yourself first. What truth I can't hear about somebody else no more when I know the truth about my life? I started off accepting the truth about my life. Now, you come and tell me about Jack and how bad his life was, and you wonder why I didn't flinch. You wonder why I didn't move a muscle. I didn't even make a facial expression, because there's nothing there's not a truth you can tell me about another person that's ever going to be that crazy to me if I know my own truth. I stand in my own truth every day. Because a person could be lying about another person. A person could be lying about you. That's why you better know the truth about yourself. The reason that there's no excuse that we don't, the Bible said, I'm going to pour out my truth on everybody. So what you mean you didn't know the truth about yourself? You didn't know who your enemies was. You didn't know what, I don't know, y'all. It just doesn't make sense. Let me hook my charger back up. I'm getting my charger, guys. Y'all stay with me. Because, yeah, when we talk about Israel, it very much has a lot to do with believers. Land. Israel is a people. Israel is a people, ladies and gentlemen. Tribes of people. Tribes with an S. That's what's crazy. Anytime you fought Israel, even the Pharaoh found out, Moses' brother, anytime you fight Israel, you fighting God. That's all our peace should rely on. That's just the devil favorite weapon, humiliating people out of their beliefs. Humiliating people out of their faith. Humiliating people off of their spiritual inheritance. They don't mind doing the humiliating, the depressing, the abuse. Because maybe they look at it as a promise, something they're going to receive on the other side. Attacking Israel. Like with this war right now, maybe it's over oil. Who knows? Maybe it's over oil, food, land, grass. So when countries fight, it's usually over maybe what's that called? Like a something they were trading, like oil or food. Okay? That's usually how it works. When there's a war and the other side win, now they taking everything that was once your resource. Real talk. That's why I always take wars very serious. Or when I read about them, I take my research serious. Because it's one thing to go to war, but there's always a loser and a winner. In case people forgot. Why they so quick-tempered and ready to go to war? You do know one wrong move and you lose that war, you now belong to a whole nother country. Your resources, your people, everything. Because you just lost that war. That's why I don't let people impress me with that, bro. Like, yeah, you think you ready to just go out there and start some stuff with people? You think you ready to just go start a war? You do know there's a possibility. There's always somebody stronger. Have y'all heard that quote? There's always somebody better, wiser. That's sense to watch a whole planet compete, even if it's with NASA. Well, we got the best scientists over here. We got the best rocket ships. What are we competing for if we all on the same planet? Shit. If you got the best rocket ship, we should all know what the moon look like. You know what I'm saying? There's still like these competitive battles with stuff that where it shouldn't be. Okay, if the smartest tech is in China, I wouldn't judge them. You know what I'm saying? I believe you really are who you say you are, but why would you use your wisdom to stay in competition with another country? It just doesn't make sense. Well, we want to keep this smart man over here. He invented the robot chip type of deal. Or we want to keep Israel down in this way. You can probably do that to that, like I said, to that land. The actual people of Israel, anytime you raise up and wage war against them. Because did we talk about that? Israel is a people. The news just going to say now it's a city, a small country over there. But don't forget, news media, Israel is a people. What's wrong with y'all? Israel is real people. Not just people, though. They're people of God. And maybe they didn't want to get too far deep in the identities. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they said it would be too expensive to sit around and try to figure out who's all Israel or not. I would say that our lives reflect it. The cycles in our lives, you, if you're Israel, and even if you're not Israel, your life and heart and soul tell you if you stand with Israel or not. Now notice, U.S. is one of those countries standing with Israel right now. Just for those that didn't know, U.S. stands for Israel. What did I say? If you're not Israel, you're either against them or you stand with them, or you just don't care at all. It's still a big prophecy about these Israel that was long before I was born. See what I'm saying? That's when, I mean, I don't know. People got to ask themselves when about a certain, and you attack those people. Now, to me, it matters what the and who the from. Because I mean, to sit there and attack the prophecy was about, you're clearly trying to stop the plan of God. You're to defer, that have into their promise, because we didn't get to talk about that with Israel. Oftentimes, when Israel is mentioned in the Bible, it's associated with promises that were inherited by God for Israel. That's it. If you never read the Bible in your life and you open it today and start researching Israel, and just, you probably gonna find at least 50, 60 scriptures that made it clear in stone. These are people with a covenant. A promise is one thing, but imagine a covenant. That's a little step above a promise. I guess you would have to take that, because a covenant can't be. People want to. That can't be. That means God, no matter how much he got to keep extending himself, I made a covenant to that person. So until this covenant comes, till I see it look the way it's supposed to look, because now usually a covenant is made between two parties or certain specific parties. Come on now. You're not going to go make a covenant with a stranger out there, are you? and vow your life and soul and heart to a stranger, are you? You wouldn't do that. But uh when a covenant is made, like a treaty, y'all know what a treaty is? A covenant, a promise, a deal. Okay? Now imagine you and I making a deal today and 20 other people surround us for the rest of our life saying, no, we don't want to see that deal. But it had nothing to do with them. I'm putting it in perspective where y'all can see how this looked to me from my eyes. Like, even right now, let me use myself for example. If I make cuz that is something real me and my kids talk about. No child likes a parent that sits there and persistently break promises. You were better off to not even make the promise. This is the way they playing with God. It's like they telling God, you shouldn't have made the promise. You think he finna switch up his promises to Israel because you feel that way? If I tell my daughter, yeah, every Friday I'm gonna give you allowance and it's gonna be $20, that's a covenant I just made to you. That's a promise. That's like my word I just told you. And people observe covenants, they observe promises. It has a lot to do with whether they're gonna trust you furthermore or not. Why people talk about God's people and whether they trust them the way they should. Who's been out here trying to break the trust? Stay away from the covenant promises. Stay away from their deals they made with God, because what is that your business? Unless you're trying to stop it. Or unless you're standing with that woman who's waiting to see her promise or covenant with God manifest in her own life. I was just using a woman for example. But yeah, just like if you have a child and you tell them, yeah, daddy's going to come pick you up next weekend. Do that too many times and not show up and see if that child still trusts you. That's called a broken promise. You still made a promise, you just didn't keep your word. And what I'm trying to describe to people is that God is not, it's never been written, it's never been known for him not to keep his promises. So now you just got an evil group of people that, I don't know, they made up in their mind, well, we want to be the first ones go down in history for stopping God's promise. Baby, that sounds like a dangerous, what's, that sounds like a suicide mission, to be honest with them. And I preach this out of love. God is not you fathers and mothers. He actually keeps his covenants and promises to his children. Maybe people know this. They already know. Do God people know? The enemy know. Let me inspire you guys. Every promise and covenant, words spoken to the devil himself. God never broke his word about that. If you need evidence, if he told Satan, you can never walk in heavenly places no more. That's what he told him. And that was a promise. For those that wonder, why is the enemy so evil? Why he just don't stop what he doing? He was given a promise about his end, END. Adam and Eve, they were given, because I don't want to explain it wrong. Yes, I know where supposedly they got cursed and the serpent got cursed, but also there were promises made to them. And I never read in Genesis that those promises went away. The land was bountiful. They had domain over the beast of the land, the grass, the everything. He never revoked that promise. He told Adam and Eve, but baby, up. Lately I've been studying the promises just as much as people want to talk about the curses. Because how you gonna curse what's promised? That's a sneaky tactic, but this is how far people go to stop a promise. I'ma just curse the whole promise. That is evil. If it were possible, it's evil. Because how you gonna curse a promise? Well, you just promised your kid a chore money every Friday. I'm finna curse what you said. That's how they are. You made a promise that you're going to show up to work every time all year. I'm going to mess with that promise. Some people are after our promises, trying to wake the people wake them up a little bit spiritually. Did you know that book you ain't never touched in your life, that Holy Bible, it has promises in it for you? Real talk. Do you have a second to give God that second and say, wow, it do say right here I'm promised to have this and that. This was an inheritance because I'm the seed of Abraham. Like, they don't want people looking at it. I would say they don't have a problem with people reading the Bible. It's still one of the number one sold books of the world. You have a problem with people believing it. You got a problem with somebody staying there praying and waiting on their promise from God. You got people trying to security and police the covenant. I want to tell y'all how strong the covenant with Israel was. That's all. When you go to, because I'll leave some scriptures in the comments for you guys as well, because I didn't really name scriptures. But most of these promises, this is where it gets interesting, guys. God is not dead. He still promised people stuff today. And I don't think he promised, like I said, he not like the mothers and fathers of the world. Bro, this is God Almighty we're talking about. When he make a promise, you think he wasting his breath and time to sit there and make a promise to his child? For you to police it. Yeah, I'm the police. I'm going to watch it. Because I don't believe in promises. Just say that's what it is then. Do you keep your promise as a leader before you try to check God and his? As a leader, do you really keep your covenant, your word to the people that trust you? Because God does. That's exactly why y'all policing miracles and blessings, especially if they're of the tribe of Israel. It just doesn't make sense. That's still not you controlling the promise. If anything, I would say that promise is more guaranteed because of how people choose to step in just to try to stop it. I don't even think they understand it. That's why it was better from the beginning for people to mind their business. You don't know if a person was walking with God. God promised them the promised land 10 years ago. It did take the children of Israel, how long, y'all? 40 years? 40. It's something about that number 42. It's powerful, y'all. Just the number 4 alone. But then you add that 0 behind it, and it's something about that number, because it also rained for 40 days and 40 nights with the Noah situation. Then I turn around and look at the promise that was given to Israel and the covenant God made with them through Moses. And they also tarried and suffered and just strived for 40 years just to get to what they were promised. But even if we read that story, no matter how they treated God, man, they made it to their promised land. I could cry right now. They made it there and still turned against him when they got there. Like, we finna turn up. We finna serve gods and idols like we want to. We finna dance like we never. It turned into a celebration of what? You were supposed to be celebrating that you made it to the promised land. But your celebration can slowly, easily turn into a slap in God's face, because did the children of Israel take the time to give God any type of thanks and honor? They were just more stiff-necked. That's what God describes them as. He hates to see a child that he remember where he brought them from. But they call themselves like, what? Spitting in God's face, slapping him once they actually make it to the promised land. Once they actually receive the promise. See, you have countries right now, like leaders that make covenants, treaties with each other all day long. What I noticed is they want to downplay God's covenants and promises. He didn't just give us no list of commandments and say, obey me or I'm going to kill everybody. That's not how God looks. While they're trying to make him look that way. What if there was commandments, but also promises and covenants that came with those commandments? And God was just speaking that if I so happen to see one of mine keep these honorable commandments, baby, there's a covenant, there's a promise that's extended to them through lineages of inheritance if they keep my commandments. But it doesn't say that applies to everybody. I'm not being funny. I believe everybody should overall keep the 10 commandments, but he predominantly wrote those for the children of Israel. Yeah. Y'all, some of y'all know the constitutional laws better in your land than you know the 10 commandments. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't obey the laws of your land, but there were some promises, some inheritances, some lineage affairs that's actually tied to the children of Israel's obedience. There's nothing we can do about it. This was the covenant. You don't go back. It's not like the Constitution where you can change it. You can change it whenever you feel like it. That's what I love about God. What he sets in stone, They say he the same God he was yesterday, today, and forevermore. It ain't like these changing presidents and world kings and leaders who change things according to what they feel like is best for the people. He came on the scene a long time ago trying to tell y'all, God said, I got a people too. And these are the commandments I told them to keep. And these are the promises that come with their commandments. And these right here, these are the curses that come when they don't keep them. It's simple. And I don't think you should continue to judge a people that abide by a whole nother law. He said the just shall live by faith. They don't sit around. They ain't got to go stand on the corner and beg. They live by faith. But you want to police them. Well, there's no way they're making it. If you read the Bible, you'll see how they making it. That's all I've been trying to say at the end of the day. You don't know how a person been making it because they didn't go through the avenues, valleys, and roads and paths that you took to obtain your success. You like, I know this person don't think they just finna sit up with a Bible and read and pray all day and they get further ahead than me. That's really all it is. God done already showed me the heart, how people think. I think they should put in 80 hours like I did over there at GMC. Well, they put in 80 hours, brother, but they did it in prayer. You put in 80 hours at GMC. She put in 80 hours with the Lord. 80 hours is 80 hours if you ask me. And that means my work was applied in another area. My time was applied in another area. Not at GMC, not at, what's the other one? I was trying to think of big companies that have changed people's lives. Frito-Lay, Pepsi. You name it. GMC, like I said. Who was the other one I was thinking about? Just big companies. A person can clearly go give 80 hours of their life to and have things. They can pay their bills. That's why we see Israel suffer from so much. The tribes, you can easily tell before I even start doing blood tests. You can tell who come from one of the 12 tribes of... Look at what be happening in their life. Like somebody always policing their blessings and miracles. Any little breakthrough they could get. Somebody has to be there. They got to have somebody planted and right there. And I just don't understand it. They police Jesus too. Because who are you to come on our land and tell us we can't tax people? They just didn't like Jesus. He didn't tell them they can't tax people. He just would more speak about his opinions about it. They called them tax collectors back then. Because you had hard-working people back then, too. Never have the people of God been exempt from paying taxes. That's all I know. But see, if they live a whole different life, like how they even attain what they is different. Why do they owe you taxes? And why is nobody talking about this? Sir, they didn't even go to one of your companies to get their blessings. They literally sat there and inherited it from God. They didn't go out and shake their rumper. See, there's evidence that will show if a certain thing you did changed your life for the better. For the better. You could say like, oh, pickles changed me. And now every time I eat a pickle, I'm different. You wouldn't have to say that, like people would see it. Hell, they might start believing so much they start buying you the pickles to help, like, because they see that it's help type of deal. That's not what I see with the tribes and the children of God, the Israel right now. If anything, it's just, I can't put it in no better way, y'all. Like, it's funny to describe it this way, but who has time to just sit around and police your miracles and blessings, man? Inherit it, because you are a child. You're not, when we say child of God, that's what we mean. There were real inheritance. I bet they can find the records if they wanted to. This wasn't just some, oh, God talking, and you got a promise, and God didn't know what he was talking about. God is crazy. Who better than the devil to make God look that way? To attempt to make God look that way. Oh, these just some words in the old Bible. They ain't got nothing to do with you. Trust me, I tried to believe it. Uh, this ain't got nothing to do with you. These promises was just, God didn't mean it like that. No, he meant what he said. If Abraham committed his whole life, spirit, and soul and heart to God Almighty, Abraham did one of the best things he could ever do. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, if you ask me. Because they talk about investment so much. Tax collectors, they know all about that. But obviously, it's not legal to invest in your faith. You know what I'm saying? Go on a fast like Jesus did, maybe for 40 days, 40 nights. Who is that hurting? That's that person aligning themselves to receive their blessing. And they get mad when it didn't come from them, because it's like, how can you tax something you didn't even give me? How you gonna tax me and I pray to God for this and that and that? That's why they don't like you living on that level. Knowing God, believing in his promises and covenants, being able to quote them to anybody on any day that you need to. And they could look at your life and say, well, it don't look like you living a promise yet. They not looking hard enough. Some things that have transpired today, you were prophesied to at the age of 7, 8 years old, 10, 16. It's prophecies spoken over my life as a child that I remember today. So I don't know. It's like one ear and out the other type of deal with some comments. Because if you wasn't there to experience that promise or that covenant God made with me that day, what can you tell me? You can just look at my life and see and judge it what you think it is today. When they put all the paperwork together, and it shouldn't take that. You see how far God brought a person. You see that had it not been God too, who else was going to do it? That's how some of us are learning who we are. You leave them out on a tree limb in the middle of the ocean. A miraculous Savior saves them, and you're wondering why, no matter what you do to them, they still believe in that Savior. They still believe. That Savior probably rescued them out of the ocean and said, look, I promise you this. By year 10, you're going to be this, that, established, boom, boom, boom. That's all this is, y'all. We don't have time. If we had the people on the force actually, I don't know what they're supposed to be surveillancing, but I don't think it's people's covenants, treaties they've made with God, pacts. But really, I feel honored. Like, really. Like, God, you chose me. This who you want everybody to see, because God never told me that. Like, it's going to come this time where everybody just going to kind of be watching your life. Because, I mean, they read that you're a child. You one of the children of Israel. They see it. They might see signs, but they, maybe they want to study. They want to study you specifically. All I got to say to that is it's a little rude. Maybe the person could have been more prepared. If you want to see all into their private life based off of a covenant they made with God for them. Maybe your covenant looks something like this. You prayed one night like, God, I know that I'm not going to make the right choice out of my life. Like, I don't know where that prayer came from, but I remember praying it. When I tell people just details, I be like, ooh, I love talking to God in the shower. Now they probably want to surveillance there. Oh, she talks to God in the shower. Well, we want to see. It was never like an out loud conversation. You thought your thoughts were private. You thought your heart was a affair, but it's not. God didn't even create it like that. He created everybody to be openly comfortable. Don't y'all know Adam and Eve was walking around naked at one point, and it was nothing wrong with it. That's how far we've gotten away from purity. But yeah, I was just trying to give an example of a I know I ain't gonna make the right choices or decisions all the time. God was probably like, oh Lord, where is prayer going? But it was me. It was one of his children that we have covenants and promises on our bloodline. And it was like, God, I ain't gonna make the right. You just asked him to bless you. Bless you even through your bad decisions. That's crazy. It seemed a crazy thing to pray, but when I say bless me, it didn't mean like, yeah, God, give me $1,000 every time I do something wrong. It's more like open a door, a window of grace and mercy for those times before I even made certain decisions. You prayed this. I'm gonna need to have to see you, God, perform some things for me, even in my bad decisions. So I know you still there. I know that I have guidance. I know that somebody cares, even when I fall. And it's his response to me. It was like God was cool with that. Like, how do I know you answer my prayer? Well, there's been some questionable decisions. Even if I just talk about the past 5 years of my life, but God's response to those decisions showed me He heard me when I prayed about my decisions long before I made some of them. Because who goes out looking for validation every day? Girl, should I move here? Hey, sir, should I do this? Hey, girl, should I wear my hair like this? But I can tell you what it's like to live that way. Like literally every little decision you making, you looking for validation from people. That is not free. That's not freedom. It's not spiritual freedom. It's not mental freedom, and it's just not. You don't pleasure yourself at all. Like I'm wearing this shirt, like it. No, you gotta go ask the neighbor, does it look cute on you? You gotta make sure you don't look fat in it or whatever. When literally I made it easy for myself. God, I don't know what decision I'm gonna make next. You know me, God, and how safety is usually my first thought, my my second thought. God, you the first thought before the first thought. So I'm gonna need you to guide me through decisions. God, you just gave me the free will to do what I want to do. But in case they wrong sometime, this was a real prayer for whoever this testimony helped. In case my decisions ain't right sometimes, God, I'm gonna pray over them now. And you prayed that prayer like 27 years old. And now people just hating, like, why it seems like every decision she made, God is blessed anyway. Maybe because you prayed and He promised you He was going to do just that. Because He knows we're not perfect. You're going to make some decisions. You're going to even be trapped in certain decisions that you thought was your decision. That wasn't your decision. Somebody trapped you into it. And because I can see that far into your life, my child, I'm going to go ahead and bless that prayer you prayed. That to go ahead and be watching over you through your decisions. Because some people really is out here on them type of games. They want to deplete you and run your life over your own decision. They want it to look like self-sabotage. So they get out scot-free. I just had stopped. To me, even right now, speaking on it is only for the sake of this topic. I don't even give it the attention no more. Because who go that low? Like, I want to convince that person to self-sabotage so much that people won't even know that I was the convincer. When the Bible told me you're the accuser of the brethren, the enemy is always lurking. He seeks, what it say, walk around like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour every day. So that was a wise prayer I prayed. God, I don't know what I'm going to decide next on any given day. God, you know me and how when we did try to stick to plans, how they would be scattered all the time. So God, you just gave them what you had. Like, this is my life. This what happens when I try it. This what happened when I make this decision. Ain't nothing wrong. God wants you to come to Him sincere. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, I cannot deny God has followed me each and every place I went. No matter who don't want to believe it. Don't invite me over if God can't come in the room, if He can't come in the house, if He can't be on the porch. Don't even invite me over. Don't invite me to the function. Because you're going to think I'm there by myself, but I'm not. God is in the room with me. God is in the building with me. And when He's with me and He's nothing but the truth gets exposed. So you find yourself like people not wanting you around as much. Because they always got something to hide. So don't invite me over. They doing the right thing. Because God is coming. And if something ain't right in your house, if something ain't right in your house, your store, wherever I'm at, it's just going to be exposed. The light came with me. If the light is coming with me somewhere and it's darkness all in your house, then it's gonna be exposed. That's why people don't invite me. I know that's what it is. God is going with me, and I'm not finna tell him to go nowhere. I like him traveling with me. I actually love it. I'm loving it more and more every day. And I'm not gonna tell God, stop following me. I did try. If people want to get deep into my testimony, I tried that prayer before. God, just stop following me. Play. Why would you want to be here? I'm here. God, this ain't a place you would hang out, but you know, so I'm here. And even when I did try to pray, like tell God stop following me everywhere, it never stopped. Now I can see the love in it, but maybe I didn't always understand. You would kind of follow somebody that you care about. You don't. What I'm saying is you wouldn't mind a person or being or come on now, you wouldn't even mind them. It wouldn't even call it stalking. Now it's called protection. It's stalking if you just watching me, following me. There's no product coming out of this. It's just all for your own selfish gain. That's the difference between people monitoring and policing my blessings and miracles and God doing it. And God being right there to make sure that what needs to be delivered gets delivered. What breakthrough I need, what healing I need. Because he will send the blessing. But it's like he had to come down here like who? I had to talk to God about it. God, you've been sending the blessings. It's thieves all around me. And he will get up off his throne. Because like I said, y'all think you wouldn't even waste your time putting something beautiful together for somebody, spending lots of money on it just for it to get to them, just for a person to steal it. Nobody has time for that. God either. And he done warned people many times, like, how you gonna try to stop a covenant or promise I blessed the people with before y'all was born? Anybody that's on earth right now, before they was born, there was a covenant to God's people already made, promises. They just grew up, got into positions and fields they're in, and decide we gonna police people's miracles. Cause they ain't heard no miracles yet. I know God real, like just the ones I can go back and think about should scare people. And you call yourself policing and trying to stop some stuff coming from God today, like in 2025. Those are the type of battles I put in God's hands, because he will go to war about it. Y'all think God won't go to war about his covenants? His wealth? His knowledge? It's just a suicide mission, because like I said, the devil got a promise. He had a promise made to him too. And that's that he's going to be, y'all don't want to hear it, but just, he know his ending. And if he wasn't worried about it, if God promises is not so true, why is the devil trying to bring so many people with him, tear him down as if the promise is true? Like he's going to be bound to hell forever one day. He know that's true. God don't lie. He know that's a promise. So he knows whatever God has promised you is also a promise, and God is not playing about it. So that's where you meet war in the middle, right there. Only the one on the mad side will want a war. So now you want to just fight. Well, you going to bless them and get them they promise? Well, I'm going to make you fight for them. And God is used to this with the devil, really. He just used to it. Like, sir, you want me to sit here and fight you over everything that's mine. Even when Christ was on the scene, he wanted Christ to fight him. He wanted Christ to hit him that day. He told him to turn the stones into bread, just so he could say, see, you're not Jesus. See, you don't love people. Look, you just slapped me, but you telling them to turn the other cheek. The devil even came and tempted Jesus. And then this is why I can repeat the same narrative, because that's all they use. It just be new people, new faces, new places. If we can get that person to step out their faith, because it's them that chose it. But they're making it challenging for us to refute that they are that. That's just dumb. Stop trying to refute what somebody is. Stop trying to change them into who you said the black woman should be. The Bible right here says she from one of the 12 tribes of Israel. And she's supposed to be crazy for believing the word of God? That's true persecution. A really ancient text, a real ancient text. They just call it the Bible. I call it ancient text. We know people long before. The stories are about them. The authors were here long before us. We didn't get to get into. We talked about promises and covenants because, like I said, we live in a day where more witchcraft, curses, how they're real, how they affect people's lives. And I did a deep research. Like, it's some people out here in lost villages, places we'll never visit, that have been quote unquote cursed or tainted. God know I got a heart for it, and it's probably a reason why. Because if you're already in a village somewhere deep off practicing something else, it's 9 times out of 10 people, there's nobody coming to save you from whatever culture y'all practice. So it just be like stories of a person that turns somebody not per se into a chicken, but you give them like a chicken spirit. The person just act like a chicken for the rest of their life. Like real curses. You can find these documentaries anywhere. And they show it on camera. Like the person just, no matter what they try, how they talk to them, what they give them to eat, they still acting like a chicken. Because the witch in the village down the road there put a curse on your grandson. They just do stuff like that. And God know how this place is. And then y'all be like, well, we just going to take that one down with a curse too. It wasn't going to work like that with everybody. He told you who the chosen people of Israel were. That just exposed what you've been trying to do to them, if you ask me. Or what had worked for so long. It's crazy, like how you can stumble across the truth. Just living in your own truth. That's my conclusion, bro. Like, this was how we were supposed to go down, God. Like, just a bunch of hateful people who hate a certain tribes and they do curses on them. I don't know about other people, but I prayed about that. I still pray about it. I don't think it's right. That's like me just sitting up and decide I'm a curse some people or a person just because I don't like who they are. It don't even cross my mind. I'm telling you, cussing is probably as far as I'm gonna go, because it's not hidden anymore. It's not hidden anymore. Some of us, just as great as content creators, writers, filmmakers that we are, our communication skills, we're still human. We cuss in a emotion of anger, frustration, or irritation. People want to go run and tell people that about me. Baby, I can tell people that about me myself. When I get in a certain emotion, I remember I'm human real quick and why I invited God in my life. Real quick. I'm not saying I only think about God when I'm angry, frustrated, or irritated, but isn't it a blessing that I do have somebody to think about in those moments? Because we talked about quick-tempered at the very beginning of the segment. And I feel like, yeah, that's something that, it's like a spirit or something that's attacking people. It want everybody to just, it want everybody to be mad and fighting all day. And I knew it, even trying to feed into the energy a few times. That's why I say I don't believe in that matching energy stuff. I believe if you positive, stay positive and let that negative be negative, and the energy gonna speak for itself. Matching energy, that's a little too much work. I'm trying to change how I normally am for you just because your energy is negative. That's not how I want to live my life. But I was talking about how it's experiences that teach us that. Some people, they feel great. They feel relieved after they cuss a person out. Me, I feel sorrow. You know, it's just not me. I feel sorrow. I feel bad, knowing they probably deserved it. This segment is not about how I'm different from people. We're talking about how the children of Israel are different from people. What you mean? Always, what they call it, hospitality. What I read about God people, they've always been those type of people. They just always get used. You're going to see it in the Bible too. The most generous, big-hearted, giving people get abused. Jesus was healing people for free. That was the difference between him. We're talking about the difference between Israel and regular people. The difference between Jesus, he didn't charge no money at church. He give people miracles and blessings for absolutely free. I could imagine the taxpayers didn't like him. They found a man they could go to, and they just touch him and believe, and they were healed. I'm sure the taxpayers didn't. The tax collectors didn't like that. We go to Jesus. We got a new deal. Our child that's been sick for 12 years just got up. Now the doctor don't need our money. Of course they didn't like Jesus. His promises, his covenants, his healing, his miracles, they were free. Or was it? It take a little bit of your faith. That's it. Do you believe I can do this right now? Before he would even heal him. Do you believe I can do? I know you heard about me in the streets and I've been out here healing. Do you believe this? In that moment, just imagine him asking people, do you believe? And he didn't just go to Israelites or Jews. We need to talk about that too. God wasn't just performing miracles for Jews and Africans or Egyptians. Anybody of any race could find mercy in the sight of God when he walked the earth at that time, if they wanted it. So in the Old Testament is where you're going to find, for those that want a direction, like, man, I want to research a little more of what she's talking about. It seems deep. Look how long she's been talking. Okay, what they call the Old Testament of the Bible is like Genesis through, what's the last book? Is it Hezekiah? There's a last book, and then the New Testament starts with Matthew. That should be easy for y'all to remember. But Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. If you're looking for the story of Christ I was just talking about, that's where you're going to find it. The first 4 books, they call it the 4 Gospels of the New Testament. Why am I bringing this up? Because maybe others want to go do their own research and see what is the big difference, Tetasheri? What's the difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament? And why is the life of Christ and how it's written in the Bible, why is it significant? And I'm just giving my opinions today. Well, first of all, if way in the Old Testament, what you would call BC days, it was prophesied that a Messiah was going to come on the scene. And he would bring salvation. And he's going to come from the line of David. That's all they knew. Because when God give a prophecy or an insight about something that might happen in the future, he don't show you like T by T how it's going to happen. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, know-it-all non-believers do not like that. They like, why you only be giving us a piece of the vision? Because if he wanted you to know the whole thing, he would have showed you the whole thing. And we would all know it all, right? Where was I at? Okay, so that's why I was bringing up the life of Christ, though. Like, y'all do know, years and years and years before in other ancient scrolls, it talked about a baby that was going to be born, a promised seed. Okay? That's why he was challenged a lot. When that seed finally came here, y'all don't understand. The king had put an order for all the firstborn sons, newborn sons, literally, while Mary was having them. The people that believe in Mary, they know what I'm talking about. How you gonna believe in Mary? You don't know the story of Jesus too. She went through some things, is what I'm saying. As a mother, I like to read her story sometimes to help me relate to certain things. So before Jesus could even walk, talk, we don't even have to say Jesus. For the sake of the stream, we'll say the Messiah. Because when in the ancient prophetic text, it said a Messiah was coming. Nobody knew his name until Mary named him. And did we not read in the book of Matthew that an angel came to Mary and told her what to name him? So I just think it's significant. Like if you see a pattern of other ancient texts that came forth to be true later on, and you see certain stuff happening now that's in the text that said was going to happen, why would you even put yourself in it? Why would you set it up in a way where we can use this as an opportunity to what was written was going to happen? You're going to use it as a just know it's a God-given one because he's the one who had wrote what was going to happen. You still want to downplay God, kill his people, take his people out of here, but every other thing that's been prophesied has either came forth before or we're seeing signs of it when it comes to that book. Y'all know what they call like copycat criminals? A copycat criminal is somebody who literally that was their only reason why they started doing the crime, because they wanted to copy another person who was doing it. I just have never understood that one. Y'all like what they got to do with the topic? It's really crazy. We should pay attention to it. Copycat crimes is like it was already a serial killer on the loose, but he leaves a clue every time he do it, and the clue is a handprint on the wall. He sticks his hand in paint and he put a handprint on the wall. But he done already got 20 people, and so they begin to follow those type of signs, like, to try to catch up with the person. Like, what kind of signs can leave? That's a different type of criminal. When they leaving clues and signs, they usually get in more trouble for that or get reward, because it's like if you already committing crimes, but you got time to leave a lipstick stain, like the kissy lips, or a handprint, or a whole note on the wall, showing that you don't care about what you just did. They usually do when they catch those, they have a harsher penalty. It's like, because you didn't just do the crime, you wanted to like showboat with it. And then a copycat criminal is usually we see them not while the person is doing it. We see them after the first criminal has been apprehended, and it's usually somebody who try to, I don't know if it be for notoriety, fame, just you got to be really bored to say, hey, I'm gonna go imitate what Jeffrey Dahmer was doing just because. Like, that's crazy. That's what a copycat criminal does, though. And I know that God has brought that to my attention for a reason. I might not understand where the pieces fit yet, not just with this topic, but applying it to my life. Not becoming a copycat criminal, but just being aware and educated that they do exist. They just get a kick out of somehow living a similar life to another criminal. It had to be tough. Oh, dang, I shut my notes here. It had to be tough because I think I had like, I'm thinking about something. It got to be tough to be in the promised land like Abraham, or was it Noah? It's just like staying in your own village of peace, obeying God or whatever, but right next door, they doing the total opposite or something. It's crazy. Because that's kind of how Abraham, a few of the wiser prophets that walked with God longer had to experience that sometimes. That was a test of their faith every time they went through it. You see in the world, not even just the world, like people as close as your neighbors or your own family or your own kids, literally choosing to do other things. But, you just have been trying to live for God. That's it. I notice you do have to choose at the end of the day. It ain't like Abraham could go mingle in the city and go to the street clubs and then go back home and be Abraham. That's not how it was in the Old Testament. You had to choose. Now, you going to be Abraham, the friend of God, or you going to go out there and do what everybody else doing? Y'all know it was sin around in Abraham time too. He could have sat around, drank beers all day, just been lustful and crazy, money hungry, like the other respected men of his community. But what I love about Abraham's story, we bringing up Abraham for a reason, and the chosen people of Israel. What I love about his story is that No matter who he saw do what. Because Abraham lived a life just like the rest of us. At one point, you were 20, then you were 30, then you were in your 40s, 50s. I was just talking about over the whole course of time that he was alive. I never read that Abraham switched up. So that's his nickname for those that hadn't got around to maybe Abraham's story yet, and the rumors that he had earned. He was well respected, just being who he was. Just to let y'all know too. There were respected men in the land. Maybe because of their money. Maybe because they're kings. Maybe because they work for kings. Abraham, that's why I said it mattered. Me touching on this real quick. Not everybody favor, respect, power comes from the sources that the world is used to. And it seems like they respected it in Abraham Day. He was just respected. He earned the whole nickname, the friend of God. Let me give an example. So when Abraham go walk to the market, maybe get him some fish and cornmeal for the family, some oil for the house. He was just that man. Everybody waving to, speaking to. He was respected. He was probably out for help. Abraham, you need some help taking all that flour home and oil. Where your sons at? He didn't have to act. Some people's, that's all this come down to. Like, people be after that. Like, I want that person power, that person's respect, that person's wisdom. And it's crazy. Just be careful that you understand the source of how they get theirs. They might didn't go to a certain person like you did, or got the respect from the OGs in the hood like you did, or got the respect from the top manager, CEO, junior partner. That's not where their respect came from. And we have to accept that. Even as the true children of Israel, everybody not going to understand why that person get love, where that person respect come from. I mean, I don't be wanting to take them there, but it was a whole covenant and promise over my life with this bloodline. You don't want to tell them too much because they might say, well, I want to join the bloodline. Ain't nothing wrong with that, but still, some people get desperate just to have what you have, to take what you have, or to get a piece of it. That was the significance of Christ coming on the scene, because even if you weren't one of the tribes of Israel, you could be adopted into the fold through salvation. That's what I believe. That's the best way I would describe it. Like, because we're not going to all be from the, Juneteenth is coming up. Happy early Juneteenth to everybody out there. I'm checking some. Yeah, like, everybody not gonna understand where something come from. Then if it's a bloodline thing, that's all they can do today, is either try to taint the bloodline, steal the bloodline, or join the bloodline. If you just say, they be like, girl, where'd you get them cookies? Oh, you can't get these, girl. These are special edition. These is only for my bloodline. What you think they're gonna try to do? You think they're gonna stop? Oh, okay, I respect your bloodline, like they did in Abraham Day. No, it's more like, how can I go further? We have technology now. How can I go further and get in your bloodline then? Even steal a sample and just say I'm a part of your family so I can get in on this spiritual inheritance. But these are the same people wouldn't even abide by the 10 Commandments a little bit. Clearly, if they willing to steal your bloodline and do manipulative stuff to steal what's attached to your bloodline, they're definitely willing to break some commandments. That's why I always believe, now that I'm a little more wiser, like, not every bloodline should mix. People just be attracted to each other, but they really should get more familiar with one another's bloodlines. Well, I'm gonna say, yeah, just messing around, or maybe with somebody, you just need to know their bloodline. Because now you might learn about both the blessings and curses that your child might be facing based off of your very own bloodline and that person's. If a woman had a choice, she's supposed to marry the man who the curse of pimp shit, pimp, pimp. What was I looking for the word? Pimp ship in their life. That's his bloodline, and every man in the bloodline is the greatest pimp of the city. And a woman wouldn't want to know that before she make a whole son with that person. That's all I'm saying. Cause sometimes it's not just the blessings that you carry over into the next generation, the wealth, the land, the inheritances. It's those curses. But nobody else channel talking about it yet, so I'm here to bring my reaction to even the curses that have Israel for so long. The curses that people try to surround Israel with, the attacks, even the image. But that's another topic. That's another topic. You know, it's not that anybody's confused. The area over there is Israel. The actual chosen people, their name is also. Let me use the word also then. Then I also encourage and inspire you guys to give King Solomon's story a chance too. What better time in history to read it and study it than now? Like, you literally see Israel being attacked. Okay. Because King Solomon was a real king. I don't know. They be trying to say, refute the Bible and say things weren't true. That makes no sense. And it's evidence of just about every story in it. You might have to go to you might have to travel for these museums and these geographical locations just to see it with your own eyes, but it does exist. And there's just proof of every Bible story. So, King Solomon is a great one to research right now. Some of those promises that were written in the Old Testament, we also see in the New Testament, which was what I was trying to describe. You can describe it as an extension, I guess, of, yeah, an extension of what had already been promised or said or prophesied in the Old Testament, which were BC days. And we know AC, when we're talking this way, references to after Christ. But even his existence was one of those prophecies. Now, and what he promised Abraham too. I'm saying I don't think God didn't keep his promise. I think there's just a lot of thieves and undercover manipulation going on. Because where are those chosen tribes? How are they doing today? Where they paperwork? You can find fossils, every other thing from under the ground and even in space, and you can't tell me where the chosen children of Israel are? Because what I'm reading here in the Old Testament surrounds their covenant is things worth. A thief mind is things worth. A thief don't attack an empty house. They've been saying it for a long time. A thief is just not finna come somewhere that's not worth his time. He might even get caught. He might even be putting his life on the line. So it has to be something worth value around a place or a people that stay surrounded, that just remain watched, or whatever you want to call it, monitored. I just want to know where the chosen people are. Prosperity, abundant prosperity. We all know what prosperity is. Abundance, we know what abundance is, but it says specifically crops. And I can't help but notice all around the world, all the new wildfires that's just more rapid. I know God sits from his throne and sees it too. But abundant crops is just one main part of that covenant extended to the chosen people. Now, when I think abundant crops, I think spiritually too. You know what I'm saying? Spiritual seed can grow in a negative or positive way. So if you talk about abundant crops, that could be just great seeds you're planting, not just in the physical realm, planting carrots and lettuce and cabbage and stuff. That's abundant crops could also mean spiritually. Like, what does that person possess? Like, how fruitful are they in spirit, type of deal. You know how they say it in the spirit, there's nine fruits. That's it's gonna a person should be exhibiting that'll show you if they truly a child of God. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. It say that about the children of Israel. And it wasn't talking about strawberries, bananas, grapes. It said nine spiritual fruits. That's how I know that abundant crops, when I read that was one of the promises of the children of Israel. That can also mean spiritual fruits. So those spiritual fruits look like temperance, meekness. Temperance, we just talked about temper, didn't we, at the beginning of the stream. Then there's meekness, okay, which is maybe a step above or below humble. I can't even think of all of them. What is it? There's the non-fruits though, period. If a person reflects these though, as the Bible teaches it, you know that they carry the Holy Spirit. It surrounds them, it's within them, it just walks with them or something. Because the evil, you see what I'm saying? But these fruits that are described, and you're going to find it in the New Testament. That's one of the things the Messiah Christ came on the scene just to teach, actually. Like, hey, I know y'all know all the crops and seeds because y'all are land tenders. These days, I know y'all know about the land. It's spiritual. It didn't matter. It was just a lot of love to come to earth and teach people. Let me not say come to earth. Come into the world and teach people that. You know what I'm saying? That was just a whole new perception they had never heard before. Like, oh, so we actually can bear other crops that are not these type of fruit. Yeah, it's still fruit. It's just like spiritual fruit. In the spirit world, you might eat an apple. Is it going in your physical stomach? That's what I mean. But maybe that's too deep for people. But it's to explain that everything you read is not just face value. You have to actually read what you're reading. Read it. When they say read between the lines, or read, I can read numbers. Just it makes me feel safe to be able to read things. So that's my personal opinion. But with it to read between the lines, just well, the Bible says this, so that doesn't that mean this? Don't call yourself whooping nobody with the Bible. That's not what I'm doing today. I was just trying to prove the significance that the people of Israel really are that. They're spiritual people in physical bodies according to this Bible, and even Abraham with them. Victory over enemies. Oh, yep, that was another promise. I didn't even get to that one. So it didn't just say like you can go out here and claim you're a child of God and you behind the scenes making it look like you got victory over all your enemies by controlling everything. No, really having victory over your enemies because he stepped in, because it was a covenant. It was a promise. What did God look like to you? You finna be keeping his 10 commandments and he don't keep his promise to you? It's written right here. I left off on abundant crops. I didn't mean to get to the enemies part yet. Dang it, my charger fell out. Because that's a powerful one. Like even with the history of Haiti, as you guys probably already know, they once were seeking victory over some enemies. What was it, from the French? That's a real documented historical war. And they supposedly, it's a myth, sold their country to the devil just to win. So I'm reading this right here in the Bible though. Victory over enemies to people who remain faithful to him. That's God. And when he serves a victory for one of his chosen people, you'll often see they didn't have to move a muscle. Where did y'all see Moses attack anything? That's why you didn't see him get arrested. You didn't see him, nobody messing with him but his own people. It's really crazy to look at if we really just give the Bible a chance. Wasn't nobody messing with Moses but his people, y'all. Even his people he found out was his people later started to trip. I don't care. You can't be calling yourself, let me not go there. But some people wear the labels. I don't. But if you're going to wear the label, teach the people. And you read too. Read about Moses. Though it was obvious, though it was prominent, it was no denying it. Weird stuff. You're warning people, saying this and that gonna happen, and then it starts happening, Moses. And even then, they wasn't trying to throw him in. They didn't want to see Moses do nothing but sit on the throne, man, and have his power with him. Like, how can this not be interesting to people? I think about Moses every day. For real. They just be looking at your outside opinion. Woo, woo. I probably researched Moses and that's how I found out it was more to his story, actually. It's more books about Moses. But anyways, how is he significant? The whole children of Israel were involved in that story. So the chosen people I was referring to. So you can, because like how that whole story even happened, people should have held their horses these days. And they just doing the same thing humans did then, though technology is advanced. We know Egypt was advanced, but I just think, yeah, I ain't gonna even compare it. They probably were even more advanced than us in Moses' time. They probably were. But as we saw, slaves were involved with those advancements. Everybody thought, we so lucky, we got all this updated technology and advancement. They didn't think there could be slaves somewhere paying for that. But God saw it. Okay? So that's why you can find this story, anybody interested. You learned that right here at You Will Make It TV. There are other books of Moses out there, but you can start with the book of Exodus. And we all know what crazy. Like, how do we not see the spiritual significance? When I just see stuff, you got to read it. You got to read it. And I don't just mean the words, like, read it. It's happening again. If Moses didn't have a whole army of chariots, a whole king's army, hunting him down for doing what God told him to do. What, y'all gonna hunt him down for taxes? You gonna tell him that he was the prince of Egypt? One of them. God used one of their very own. And yeah, like, it just started war. It's just like, you need to put their identity right. They're not supposed to be out here building all this. These are the chosen people. They can help you create. On the slave stuff, God showed them a long time ago. The attention of his people too, because just showing them over and over and over and over and over again, you can't be this valuable and the thieves don't surround you. What you mean? But that's when we talk about the biblical Israel. The biblical Israel, oh yeah, God's been, how dare people try to make it look like, yeah, God don't care about them no more. It's just a story. It's just a story in the Bible. Okay. And you don't want nobody to know who they are. They can start coming out telling you, yep, I'm probably one of those chosen people of those tribes. You can tell. Look what Moses went through. As a king, you should have been trying to help him. I don't know. Just help him. Hear him out. You know your brother more than probably better than his own people do. You know him. And it's like, if he trying to explain to you that something happening to him, that a burning bush talked to him and said, I am that I am, and you know your brother ain't crazy. Your brother ain't never talked like that. Pharaoh and Moses, very interesting story. Because both of them were very wise men. You didn't see nobody try to sit there and take that from Moses. They knew he wasn't crazy. They didn't like the order. But back to what I was saying though, like people just start seeing stuff happening too. Right after he told them, because God told you, go tell them, okay, they rivers finna turn red. God was, if you ask me, that's quite a way to expose some stuff. Like, he's like, go tell them they river finna turn red. I'm finna show you something about your brother, the king, the one finna be king. He said, okay, God said y'all rivers gonna turn red. Let them go. He still didn't let them go. And everybody, water was bad. That much pride. Nobody had to say nothing. Everybody saw it. Even the town people was saying, please. They was begging the king, please just listen to Moses. Listen to him. Oh yeah, he's also another birth that was prophesied. Moses. He's also a time when he was born, they was coming after babies. That's how he ended up with the prince. I bet he thought that was it. His story was just, but that's the thing. He didn't know the truth. We were talking about the truth at the beginning of the segment too. What did he do to people? Moses didn't know the truth. Then he went from not knowing the truth to they didn't know him no more. Just from him knowing the truth. The same truth they had been knowing about. He wasn't really, they like, well, why would you complain? You a prince. It don't matter, baby. We found you. It's just a little secret we kept. How y'all go from knowing that secret to when Moses knew that secret, y'all didn't know him no more. Not because you didn't know him. They had raised Moses. Let's be honest. They raised him. Everything he knew about Egypt and religion and everything, they taught him. So they knew him, but they didn't know him no more once God got a hold of him. You don't know this person. You know this person might look a little the same, but you don't know them no more. He's coming to you telling you the river's going to turn red. He said it's going to be a plague of frogs. Just more and more and more. All at the same time, seeing God wasn't playing. Moses saw it. His brother saw it. The people saw it. The people are trying to tell the king, can you just listen? Now they asking you to listen to Moses. Because, you know, you being prideful is starting to affect us. God broke it all the way down. Because it says right here, when it comes to a covenant he already made with Israel, this is what I'm willing to do for my people. And you hurting them, and God can prove you're hurting them? I mean, okay. He said, I'm willing to break it all the way down. It's a part of the covenant extended to Abraham. Thank God for Abraham. More people should say it. You know how blessed we've been just through some of the predecessors that prayed for future generations, man. Because they were seeing how it was while they there. I try to do that. It don't have to mean nothing. I really do. I can honestly say I have had secret prayers about the future. Like about the days I'm not even here no more. You don't know what young lady gonna go through something then, or young man, or what the times are going to be. But you would hope, you know, somebody still in the land would hope, and they believe in God too, even in the future. So, boom, we talked about prosperity. Why wouldn't a thief stand around it? We talk about abundant crops. Why wouldn't a thief want to hang around it? We talk about that type of extension of victory over one's enemies. Why wouldn't a thief want to stand around it? Just envious of all three things in the covenant, which I explained is a level above promise. A covenant is like that person who made the covenant is not going to try to break it. So who's trying to break it? So if the person that extended the covenant is not trying to break it, and the person that's supposed to be in reception of the covenant doesn't even know about the covenant, Who's receiving the prosperity, abundant crops, and victory over enemies? That's how they go. All times you read about the children of Israel, somewhere in the story, there were periods of bondage involved. Every time. Not every war starts over bondage. I said involving the children of Israel, though. Periods of slavery and wilderness wandering is what the Bible calls it. Y'all know what the wilderness is? Okay. The real wilderness. The past children of Israel know what the real wilderness is. And the ones today know what the wilderness is according to today. But it's one thing to just go visit the wilderness, hang out there, camp, hunt you some food like you know why you're there. But this type of wilderness that's being described in the Bible here is periods of slavery and just wandering. That means you're not getting out there wilderness. You bike can go from side to side, diagonal and crisscross. And God tells us, my own people, yeah, they've been through this. People more look at how sad it is, but look at how they endured it. That's crazy. Like, what other bodies of human beings would have been able to endure that much suffering and pain and slavery? They know the ones to choose that can endure it. Come on now. Now I feel like I'm preaching. Because just because a person can endure something, does it really mean that they got to go through it for 50 years? It still shows something about them. They endured it for 50 years. They be wanting you to endure stuff and then just don't say nothing about it. No. If I endured it for 50 years, people must know. That still shows a level of strength. You might couldn't fight or get out of it or do the perfect escape, so you're not a slave no more, but you endured it. Because if you survived it, that's exactly what you just did. They could say, we whipped that person. Back then, they treated slaves very, very bad. But still, not every one of them lost their life. They would take the endurance of the punishments, the beatings, the RAP. They would take all of that and still go get on the field and work. And then if you work wrong, there's a punishment. You eat at the wrong time, there's a punishment. That's how slavery works. It's not just you. You being confined is not enough. You also have to, like everything about you, got to be in line with the slave master. And that's what the children of Israel are known for enduring already. It's like not enough that we have you trapped or something. You also, if you mess up with anything, there's usually a punishment. That's what he is. That's why he's ever liked it. And that's that have the people in slavery, they don't care. They know it's wrong. And if they put a little emotion into it, they might not be a slave master no more. So they automatically have to be narcissists, like not care about the slave. Have things set up to the slave. They can't look at that person as a person no more. That's their slave. That's their dog. That's their money, right? Shows you how much people, they say they value money, but treat their slaves like, I don't understand that. I don't agree with slavery, but I'm saying if you don't have a slave, why are you treating them like, it just showed a narcissist in them. I'm telling you, most slave masters are narcissists. And I ain't never read or researched about a slave master of any sort who was a poor man. Being a poor man probably led him to it, but yeah, you have money, you got slaves. So I'm saying you presenting some kind of face before everybody every day. Maybe, like I said, back then slavery was more open, so it wasn't nothing nobody saw your character as bad just because you had slaves. That's a whole problem, bro. Y'all was still messing with these people businesses, supporting them, talking to them every day, and you see the slaves right there building the pyramid. Mm. They just didn't judge it. Like, they felt like it was a part of culture. Like, you got the money to have slaves, you got slaves. It was a sign of wealth. Like, they not even look at it as human anymore. That's where I will speak up for any of the children of Israel that's still out there, because it's whole historical artifactual facts that they already went through that. Period. And that's why people want to leave it a religious debate, because we would end up having to talk about it, and how y'all been having the same group of people for generations going through the same slavery type events. It's so sad. We all know it's greed at the end of the day, but nobody looks at the face of the greed. They're just looking at the face of the people. Today, it's not people don't openly walk around with slaves. That's what I'm talking about. So it's about, that don't mean they don't have them. People that, if they friend, they gotta do what they say do, or they, I think that's slavish. Then, I don't need a friend. You can only love me and like me when I'm doing what you think I should do, go with you where you think I should go. Anything too close to that, sitting alone somewhere is not slavery, ever. Only somebody can try to be your slave, man. I'm telling y'all, nobody willingly goes somewhere and say, I want to be a slave today. Contracts and agreements and stuff too. So I feel like people should respect the covenants that God made with his people. Period. When they have contracts and stuff on their slaves and stuff back then, I'm sure. And today. It's money behind all that. Like, so you have contracts you expect to be expected. To be respected, that's why you treat the slaves like you treat them. That's the thing. They don't want to give God his reverence. He ain't never had to make nobody no slave. They can try to say that. People try to use the Bible to do that. Just, he's more known for his power, maybe humbling people and stuff like that. He ain't had to make nobody no slave. I just talked about Jacob being in prison, wrestling an angel, and the door is open too. It's a whole true story in the Bible. How the prison doors flew open. They could have thought that man was crazy. He just in his cell praying, talking to God, right? Wrestling with an angel. There was nothing security could do. They were up, like that story on the news where they escaped. The doors open on their own. All the cells open. I don't know what people don't believe about miracles and God. I don't know what it said the guards was doing in that story, but it did say he talked, that man of God talked. So God ain't never been known to make nobody no slave. Period. It's always about self-will. That's the big difference. Slavish type religions and stuff to me, and who God Almighty is just by himself. He ain't never had to put, there's the commandments. If they want to say the 10 commandments make us slaves, that's their opinions. I don't see how the 10 commandments makes anybody a slave. That's just like the craziest thing, in my opinion. Something telling you just to don't do stuff you shouldn't be doing that will keep the earth abundant and fruitful, and every commandments was ever a slave introduction. There's other things that's been written supposedly to keep slaves in line. None in God's word was making people slaves. Now that should put it in perspective for people. You wouldn't need war and all of this if people was listening to him to begin with. It is the truth. Even I see that. There's no room for war. Everybody walking around in 100. Let's be honest. But there are those, even in the Old Testament, they believed no matter what the king said, the people around them said, their family said. When God get a hold to somebody like that, like, why are we playing brand new? They're not the same. And it's usually because he's using them for a greater purpose. That's what I'm saying. Maybe they seen all the stories and they said, well, with this one, we're going to police it. We got to see what God do. That didn't stop him before. You watched all the other prophets. Some of them went to jail. My point was, God wasn't the one putting the prophets in jail. But still, they have to follow the laws and rules. You can be any type of spiritual, religious, medicine doctor. That's why prophets got locked up sometimes. They're like, what is this man of God doing in here in cell 3? Because they were still expected to follow the law, brothers and sisters. Okay? And sometimes they would change the law too. Like, okay, we're censoring. They were censoring back then too. That's crazy. They might say nobody else can say Messiah. No, nobody else say Jesus is a king. And that's a new law. They could change laws when they want to back then too. So that's sometimes how they got and caught up. That's how you keep a slave in line, right? You got laws and rules. And then there's penalties if you don't. But the promises of God have always included freedom at the end of the day. That's where I'm going to leave this topic off at. Including is not the word. It's surrounded by freedom. That's what the truth is about. It's justice all up and down in it. It's liberty down in it. God offered that before any country ever could. Real justice, real liberty, real honor. God was passing it out to his people already. And it's still here today. It's just going to be uncommon to some people walking around with all Bible days probably. That's crazy. But it's very prevalent, like a cycle, like every generation. Here it comes. Who finna be the one to try to rise up and see a difference and see through the lines and slavery? I mean, what's wrong with that? You need somebody that can see. Sometimes, I didn't want to go there, but I wonder if sometimes some of the slave masters, I just want to hear more of their stories. I'm going to start researching. I'm going to start researching some deeper stuff. Because I heard how it was. Let's say you read, they got slaves, right? You could go visit a friend back then who got slaves, and sometimes the conversation would come up like, why you treat them so good? You know they just slaves, right? Get your money out of them. I know that conversation came up in many of their homes. Because everybody wasn't the same, and everybody actually didn't treat their slaves. In Egypt, probably so. Just for the record, I believe Egypt is also a spiritual definition. You look up Egypt in Webster's if you want to, in text. That's all I'm saying. Who and where is Egypt, right? Where did Egypt come from? How long Egypt been around? How did it get established? Why were their laws the way they were? Because that's all people do, is take somebody else, what they did, and implement it in their own systems. So you had to start learning other systems. And you begin to see similarities, and that's too close to slavery for me. Every system, like I've been teaching about, you know what I'm saying, can have a glitch, or it's not going to be perfect. If I put one together right now, and I'm just paid to do that for a multi-million-dollar project, I put together a system, I would make sure to have, for everything we build on this system, some type of backup plan. Because how dare you make a system and say it's going to work for everybody? Like, we'll make sure it works for everybody. You know, Israel too. Periods of slavery and wilderness wandering is where I left off. I was extending a more direct direction. Exodus chapter 6, actually. I think it even say verse 6 here, where God says something about himself. I am the Lord, I will free you from oppressors and rescue you from your slavery in Egypt. That's why I said we got to understand what Egypt God was talking about, what Israel God was talking about, what wars and rumors of wars was God really talking about, right? And then it continues and says, I will redeem you with a powerful arm. This scripture excites me. I'm not done yet. A powerful arm. We know what an arm is. And great acts of judgment. That part was scary. Even me, myself, I wouldn't want to rise up against the fear of God rest in my heart about the right things. It clearly says here, this covenant says here, when it comes to the execution of judgment on your enemies, when you one of my people, and this was just something I was reading one day. I mean, because the Bible out there for everybody. Period. Not the one that say, touch not my anointed, do my prophets no harm. That's a powerful scripture too. A whole warning. A whole message of him introducing how he feel about those that worship him. I mean, what gods and entities don't. There has to be some things they like, some things they don't like. And we'll respect it as we hearing about every other god, goddess, and demon. But all God said was something simple. Don't touch my people. I gave everybody free will. That's how God look at it. It's just be based off of what people want to see and who. Like, come on, bro. Everybody got free will, and you gonna touch my child? That's how God see it. I'll speak it for him. Any of my children, I let all y'all wake up with the same breath, same 24 hours. You just in different countries, cultures, families. Yes, it says it right here in the Old Testament. In the book of Exodus, where Moses is used to deliver the chosen people out of bondage. I don't think it was just them being slaves out there. It had to be some other spiritual bondages going on. The way God stepped up for his people. I'm telling you, it's just like repeat story. It's crazy. The only way a story can come repeat is somebody decided we're gonna copy this. Like a mockery, bro. Because if it really happened, why would you want to repeat that in history? Why would you do that? It's crazy. When this was his only response, and whatever we see God do from now, it was already in the Bible. He was talking to his people. Because if you say, I will free you, even if I'm reading this as an ancient text, he was talking to somebody. Or somebody or somebody's with an S. I am the Lord, I will free you from your oppressor and rescue you from your slavery in Egypt. I will redeem you with a powerful arm and great acts of judgment. And we know the word acts. He told, actually, I need to read this right. He was talking to Moses. Moses like, I don't have an oppressor, God. I'm free. Like, what? No, you gotta oppress her as long as your family's still over there as slaves right now. And you sitting up here. You gotta let God be God. He has people in all kinds of areas of the world. He has people that are princes that believe in him, queens. Even in the Bible, we know Sister Esther, she was a queen and she was a woman of God. And we know how she became a queen. It's like their scriptures too. Their scripture is true. Put ye first the kingdom of heaven when he was talking to his children. If you put me first, I know they telling you to put your alarm first in the morning on 8 a.m. But put me first. Because if you read Esther's story, she was like a poor lady, she loved God before she had anything. That's what I'm saying. Somebody still found her honorable, beautiful. Somebody she didn't even know was watching her. A whole king. They don't want me talking about these Bible stories. It's too late. It was already written. And her position was able to help change things in the land. Also expose a man that had been coming after a certain group of people, hunting them down. It's the same story. And it always, I don't know how the people that be doing it don't see that the devil is in them. You just sitting down hunting down Christians. Even Paul saw it. That's blind, but God ain't never made nobody no slave. I'm standing on what I said for the rest of my life until I see that, because I've never seen it. Most up and do what they want to do every day because God is the one. That's a covenant. That's a promise too. A promise people see every day. They own free self-will. I ain't mad at God. If he said I'm gonna have the time gonna come, I will execute great judgments, acts of judgments is what I read for my people. I can't do nothing but respect God. They want a slave that don't fight back, and I ain't read yet where God was gonna become any man, human, robot, aliens, slave. That's weird. When people don't understand something, they just want to control it until they do. And they'll even study and still deny the truth. Jesus was right about everything he said in the New Testament. Whoever that prophet was. See, because some religions just consider Jesus a prophet. But see, to me, that's still taking the Messiah king part. You know how the protest was called No King? It's taking the Christ Messiah, understand what some of them practice, believe, and study, and why they believe it. They might say, "Oh yeah, Tetasheri, we believe in Jesus. We read the Quran. We believe Jesus existed. He was a prophet. You know." I would have to take them back to the Old Testament. So he was just a prophet, huh? Okay, well, in the Old Testament, it did say it was prophesied by a prophet that a Messiah would be born one day. Not no prophet. It said Messiah. It says Son of God. This is going to happen one day. A chosen. It did not say. It said a chosen Messiah. This is the thing about words. And people not spinning them, turning them, twisting them, trying to control. But we'll try. It's like as if God didn't know. I see your attempt. I knew what you were going to attempt. That's exactly why the prophecy. That's exactly why the prophecy is going to be what it is. Because God already knew what the enemy against the prophecy was going to do too. Most time the enemies always help fulfill it. And I'm not going to deny no more. That is crazy. It's really crazy. Like Moses' brother was the one who literally saw God flex his power like that. At least 7 times before the children of Israel even start walking away from the cursed slave land. It had all that gold in it, sure. You had castles and great horses and everything, sure. But once God cursed a land, an area, I don't even want to think about it. I think he really did because who the kings and all his army came just to chase Moses and them down, bro. Like it must have been. It wasn't a comfortable place to be anyway. He said, "We ain't finna just sit in here and we ain't finna clean this up. We finna go follow Moses." At least his pride was still driving him. Maybe he told himself, at least, we can go after him and we can still take his life. And then maybe we can get the slaves back and they can come clean all this up. They just thought some weird stuff to themselves. Pharaoh did not believe in the prophecies of God. He did not believe that his brother was the chosen prophet, born of a slave, sent in the basket up the river. I mean, they just didn't believe. He had too much money to believe. There was a parable Jesus gave about a rich man who came and tried to like convince God that he was just really worthy. Maybe he just felt good that day. Like, God, look at me. I got all this money. I'm successful. Look at me, God. We did it. God, I've been keeping your commandments since I was a kid, because that's what the Bible says that the rich man told him. And God told him, there's one more thing I want you to do. You're right. You're one of my highest servants out here in the world right now, man. I'm looking down at everybody else. And the rich man said, what, God? What else you want me to do? I told you I've been keeping all the commandments. God told him, one simple. And he said, what is the instruction, God? The rich man said, oh, God told the rich man, give up all your riches. Go pass them out right now. I just feel like the heart I have, I would have happily did it. Yeah. Happy. The heart I have for God. Like, but his main thing he was trying to point the attention out to was that he keeps the commandments. You see that? People go around like, nah, that person don't keep the commandments. That ain't no woman of God. But he had all this money and he kept the commandments. But once God told him to come up off the money and go disperse it to all those poor people, and then I'll believe that I have your whole heart, the rich man couldn't do it. As the story goes, he walked away in depressed actually. He couldn't believe God asked him to do that. Just imagine being that greedy, but you just tried to tell God you wanted the highest honor people because of your money. That's probably exactly why this story is in there. It's read it and pay attention to. I told you got copycat criminals in the spirit too. So if you want to act like the rich man and walk away from God and get mad because he told you to give something back, or just give it up. It wasn't even the poor people. That wasn't even something he needed to get back. With this parable, that was the rich man money. That was his wealth. God said, if you love me though, I want to see you go give it all away right now. The rich man didn't know earlier that day somebody prayed for, did anything. The miracle was on the way. He just didn't obey. Yeah, boy. I'm back, guys, now. But yeah, like literally, y'all. Somebody, one of those poor people in the town. One of them probably needed rent. One probably needed some flowers, some eggs. That rich man could have blessed them, bought them some land. Okay, so God told him go pass your stuff out. He just, they say he had a response like you know, he was hurt to not even respond it. That was your response, walking away. He walked away from God, like probably got greedier than what he was, just because he had that experience, and it exposed his own heart to him. Like it was no hiding it no more. Like I'm just a rich man who talk about God. I don't really want to be doing what God tell me to do. He saw his own self, and the Bible says he walked into hell. I'm gonna study that a little more for myself because it's interesting. Y'all know how it said Enoch walked into heaven. So why we don't believe the rich man walked into hell right after he? They like, how is that how is that physically possible? Spiritually, it's possible. He probably thought he was going to go home to his riches and relax like he had just did and just lived hell for it, and probably went to hell too. It just say he walked into hell after denying God like that. The whole knowing our identities part, I think, is deeper than, especially in the spirit. Because that one scripture is true, like where he gonna be turning people away. Well, it do say that, telling them, I don't know you. Depart from me, you worker of iniquity. I never knew you. Cause what if a person try to stand? They gonna try to do identity theft in heaven. That ain't gonna work, bro. They gonna try to stand there. God, I was a Jew. He still might tell them, I don't know you. Me? This guy right here with hair of wool, eyes of fire, fiery red feet, the color of brass, all power in my being on my throne. You think I know you because you came and told me you a Jew? You're this, that. Even me, I ain't gonna bring up too much about me. I ain't gonna even say nothing. When it's my time, like, God, I ain't gonna say nothing. Like, what is there to say? You know what I'm saying? He either know you or he don't. You got to know God for real or you didn't. You were like the rich man, and when he told God 5 years and come back in the fold 5 years later. But everybody don't make it to change their life for God. It's just something to still think about. Maybe some feel like, well, I'm gonna be more of a believer when I get old, cause they know life has slowed them down, and they doing less, and that's when I feel like they was gonna commit they life to God. It's just different for everybody. I didn't expect long, but I'm probably gonna come back live with another topic. That's why we encourage you guys to hit that golden subscribe bell so that you are notified every time we go live or make a new short. Uh, and we actually appreciate you guys' support. I hope that the unfortunate attacks against Israel right now, that I also feel like are prevalent spiritually, if the bloodlines are anyhow significantly tied to the 12 tribes of Israel, the people of God referred to in the Bible. Like, have we stopped and asked what they've been going through? Because they're talked about and what they might experience in the last days. Things, signs they can look for, awarenesses. It even say thinking not strange. And they find you crazy for being so calm. It was like thinking not strange when these things start to happen. That's how they talking about, or how they talk back then. Thinking not strange means don't call it crazy. And it's like, it's okay, but it's like the first, I guess you would call it strange. But God said thinking not strange. I'm telling you right now, this gonna happen, that's gonna happen. These gonna rise up against these. This right here gonna fall. But he included other promises. We thought that was just a word. Those are promises. If he said, don't worry, I'm going to pour out my spirit of truth upon all people in the last days, all we can do is sit back and see. Like, if you believe it's happening, that too. You still have access to Google today. I would say that's the outpouring of the truth in itself. Like, that scripture was real. I think I had... Maybe I'll either do a part 2 or I'm coming back with a whole nother topic. But y'all can tell me in the comments if you want me to come back and do a part 2. I'm open to even doing a build on this topic. Anybody who just sat and really listened to it and might be interested in, just like me, I don't show my face on here. We can still go live, and where it's not just my opinion or insight on these spiritual topics like this. Email me. I can leave it in the chat. soulworkimages11@gmail.com. Okay. The other one is still good too. Make it you will 01@gmail.com. That's how you can contact me, Arthur. We will have the time too, okay? Or maybe topic insights that you come up with on your own. This is what I enjoy to do. Research like this anyway. I think that's some people are better self-taught. Like, they just catch on to something better, or their understanding. Not only did they catch on or learn, they might have been able to give an input. You know what I'm saying? That's a sign that somebody was paying attention. I'm going to end it with this comment. Scripture related to Israel primarily center on God's promise, covenants, and chosen status of the Israelites. highlighting God's love for Israel. That's all we need to know right there. But I'm going to keep reading. His love, his protection, and his plans. Now, highlight just mean highlight. Like the key features of something. You see what I'm saying? But it does say that he has done. I'm covenantly showing you. Because on the other side, only a person that hates you, I would have to protect you from. A person that hates you, I would have to love you for. Okay, it says chosen status. A person that hates you wouldn't want to give you your real status. Uh, Covenants. A person that hates you is not gonna promise you anything. That's what I'm saying. And we can look at references to Ezekiel 37 and 21 through 22, or Deuteronomy 30 and verse 3. Deuteronomy 30 and 3 is significant in my opinion because it talks directly about a prophecy again. The prophecy of a gathering and the prophecy of a future glory. So, some people think there's a present glory and a past glory then, because it says specifically future glory. You see what I'm saying? But it's a prophecy about Israel gathering and walking into a future glory. Some call it a promised land, or one of the books are literally called Exodus. Even Psalm 135 and 4, or is Zechariah 2 and 8, that refers to God's people being the apple of his eye. He loved them that much. Like, it's like he meant it. Don't touch my people, bro. Or I just have to sit back and watch you get worse with it. When my covenant is that I'm their protector. Even if they don't know me, I'm finna show up, says the Lord. Even if they don't know me, because you're trying to keep them away from me and my covenant for them. That would be trying to interfere with a person's love. But hopefully that opened the people's heart up a little more. Because a lot of people only be the way they are because they feel like there is no God, or they don't feel like his love exists. Since when hasn't protection been a whole sign of an act? That's what God described it as, an act. If I execute acts of judgment on your behalf, it's because it was a part of the covenant. That's crazy. That's like not you even asking him to. It was already a covenant. Okay? I said crazy, but in a good way. I will redeem you with a powerful arm and great acts of judgment. Thought or knew of the law to do. You know what I mean? So I'm like, who is this God? That he can actually promise his followers, his people, that this is what I will do on your behalf. Now, it doesn't say I'm going to do it right when you think you should see it. Right after you had a vision or dream. Right after it was prophesied to you. It never says that. It just says what it says, though. I will, is what I'm reading, redeem you from oppressors and rescue you from your slavery in Egypt. I got to read that every day from now on. Period. That's standing on somebody's word, actually expecting them to follow through with their promise. Like the parent, they say they love you and that they are. God has no problem ever flexing it. Like, because he know his love is actually genuine. Like, what? Showing you I can keep my promise? Okay. Hold on real quick. Let me stop time for you real quick, Tetasheri. Because you're just going to keep bugging me about a promise that I know I said. Unconditional promise. For me to step up on you, but you didn't even have to call on me. But you did. And I used that opportunity to show you. Look, I can flex. Oh, yeah, I meant that. Right there in Deuteronomy, I meant that, Tetasheri. Go tell them that's talking about the New Testament is not really accurate and Jesus was just a prophet. He wasn't a Messiah. Tell them. I'm still who I was. I'm still who I was in the book of Exodus, in the book of Deuteronomy. Like, who told them I don't get makeovers and BBLs and changes, and I am God. I and then said, well, we need to change this. We don't like what believers believe. We need to change this one last thing. Mm-mm. We need to change this about the children of Israel. Just stop it. So, let us know in the comments something you might have learned today on the segment that you didn't know before, or something you learned under your own research in the history of the biblical Israel. Tell our subscribers, tell me, tell us. We want to hear what you got to say in the comments. We love you. Thank you for your support. And until next time.